Are you curious in what others don't tell you about turning older? Here it is. When you wake up one day, you're still the same person, but everything around you has subtly changed like a malfunctioning IKEA store constructed by your unresolved trauma and childhood anxieties. Wait, when did I become the adult in the room? You ask yourself as you gaze in the mirror, who gave this approval, who allowed me to operate a lifeboat? Congratulations, you're level 32. The universe says, shrugging and handing you a utility bill and backache. Good luck, champion. You don't feel older and nobody tells you that. You simply feel worn out, like existentially exhausted, physically and spiritually exhausted, and weary of acting as though everything is fine when you no longer even know what that means. Oh, you just need more sleep, sweetheart, someone will remark. A dream in which my high school ex neglected me at a pool party might leave me emotionally exhausted even after 14 hours of sleep. The kicker is this: they don't tell you that the most difficult aspects of growing older aren't the gray hairs, groaning knees, or the fact that you make a noise like an old wooden ship every time you stand up. Grieving for the version of yourself you believed you would be by now is the most difficult aspect. The version from the dream, the self-assured, successful, emotionally intelligent, six-footed, self-healing version of yourself. The person who understands what a Roth IRA is, meditates, and consumes water. The particular version, with a bite of cold pasta in your mouth and an unidentified quiet panic in your chest, you are instead scrolling through someone else's highlight reel on TikTok at 1:47 a.m. You're not a sloth, you're not damaged, you're simply numb, burned out, and stuck. Caffeine and unresolved childhood concerns keep you going half the time. For the other half, you're searching for ways to regain your emotional connection, as if it were something you could do overnight. Your circle gets smaller as you age, but your problems increase bigger. No one tells you that. Your social life becomes a battle of schedules. Let's get together and see how you're doing next month. Then, because you are both emotionally bankrupt, neither of you follows up. You used to speak with your buddies on a daily basis, in some ways exchanging 3 memes and you alive. SMS once per quarter is plenty, but it's not. Life doesn't actually click, you discover. At 30, 40, or even 50, it doesn't suddenly make sense. There isn't a magical moment when the confidence comes flooding in like a software update and the fear goes away. You simply become more adept at concealing it, making jokes about it, or carrying it about like a high-end purse loaded with emotional burdens. Limited edition matching set. You begin to understand that healing isn't a straight line, that relationships don't make you feel less alone, that success doesn't make you feel better about yourself, that you can be loved and still feel alone, and that you can have everything you desire and still feel as though something is lacking, and it bothers you because nobody ever acknowledges that happiness may be dull at times. Grief can sometimes feel like healing. Growth might occasionally feel like a loss. Let me tell you something that may make you feel a little sick to your stomach. Are you prepared? Time is not on your side. Yes, it's surprising and revolutionary. But listen to me, you won't even be aware that you're doing something for the last time one day. The final get-together with pals. The final reckless road excursion. When was the last time you laughed so much that you felt sick to your stomach and didn't need to take a nap? The final impromptu midnight excursion before you started taking probiotics and checking the weather. And what irritates you the most? The minor details. When you see cereal in aisle 7 that you haven't eaten since you were last there, you'll be crying because it hits you. There's no turning back. You will never again be that child. You are no longer that person. Furthermore, you cannot time travel no matter how many vision boards, green smoothies, or journaling exercises you complete. However, you have a choice. You have the option to quit ignoring yourself every single day. You have the option to quit living as though you're running out of time to change who you are. You have the option to be here with the strange, untidy, funny, heartbroken, and still learning version of yourself that is present at the moment. Do you want to have an epiphany? This one, there is no ladder in life. It's not an ideal straight route to being your ultimate boss. It is more akin to a forest winding and lovely with moments when you are sprinting and moments when you are lost. Sometimes, while feigning to be fine on social media, you're curled up under a symbolic tree, experiencing an existential crisis over your mission. The worst part is that you believe you are lagging behind. What's behind it? Who is behind? In reality, no one is ahead. With improved coping strategies and better filters, everyone is simply winging it. No one truly understands what they're doing. Some people are simply better at pretending to be someone they're not. Those who appear to be the most composed also cry in the shower. Believe me. Would you like to hear a story that, in the nicest way possible, ruined me? A shattered clay pot is the subject of an old folktale. This woman brings 2 pots to fill with water each day. One is flawless. All the way home, the other one is cracked and leaking. The shattered pot feels damaged, ineffective, and as like it hasn't served its role for years. You see those flowers along the path. The woman asks one day, "Every drop you poured nourished the seeds I planted on your side. You succeeded. You blossomed. You are that. You've been watering things you didn't even know you were behind. The individuals you have assisted, when it was difficult you were there, the subtle ways you've improved someone else's quality of life. Do you believe that you are broken by your cracks? No. They give you a human aspect. Thus, it's true that growing older brings with it extra expenses, aches, and strange discussions about health insurance and the reasons behind your knee pain during rainy seasons. However, it also means that you have more opportunities to make an appearance, to change the narrative, to laugh at the mayhem, to cry when it's true, and to quit looking for approval to live a life that is fulfilling on the inside as well as the outer. It entails realizing that rest is not a sign of laziness, that mending isn't changing who you are, and that setting boundaries isn't selfish. It's recollecting your true self before the world dictated your identity. It entails understanding that you might enjoy where you're headed while also missing your previous life. That it's possible for both to be true. Confusion is not implied by that paradox. It indicates that you are living, growing, and changing. It entails at last mastering the phrase, "I'm trying, but I don't know what I'm doing." And occasionally, that is more than sufficient. So if you're lying there right now, phone in hand, wrapped up in yesterday's guilt and tomorrow's dread doom, swiping through everyone else's crafted joy, and wondering why you feel so darn empty, now is the time to take a breath. Simply take a breath. This is your chance to recall something that your inner critic seldom expresses aloud. You're not by yourself. You're not running late. You're not failing. You're evolving. And yes, developing. It's not glitzy. It's not some uplifting music, accompanied montage where you suddenly receive a book deal, run a marathon, and glow up. No. Becoming is like using the same hoodie you've been wearing for 3 days to wipe tears from your face. Because the water feels safer than you think, it appears as though you have been standing in the shower for 45 minutes. Even if you've always said yes to gain favor, it seems like you're saying no. It seems like they're reheating the same depressing pasta for supper and deeming it sufficient. It is too. It's adequate. Cleaning one dish and declaring it a success is sometimes the definition of becoming. Sometimes it means letting go of that plan you've been dreading and experiencing relief rather than regret. It sometimes entails having the guts to acknowledge that you're not feeling well. You're sick of acting not because you want sympathy. Sometimes it's sending a friend a text because you're thinking of them, even if they haven't responded in weeks. At times it involves allowing oneself to really laugh, the ugly type. Whether directed at a meme yourself or the entire absurd experience of living in this strange, glitchy simulation we call adulthood. Because, let's face it, 70% of adulting involves searching for information about whether drinking outdated almond milk will cause death. 10% pacing the apartment, wondering if you really appreciate any of the things you used to love, or if you're simply going through the motions because change is scary. And 20% responding, haha, yeah, for sure, to texts you will never follow up on. Have you ever read your to-do list and felt like you need to take a nap? Yes, that section. You're doing better than you realize, though despite everything, you're not in the rear. Some days you're living on your own schedule, your own course, and your own damn world. You're moving, though you continue to turn up, breathing still. In the gloom, tiny glimmerings of light are still visible. It's not failure either. Resilience is that. Things that you once thought would destroy you have survived. You have mourned individuals, locations, and incarnations of yourself. Like a second heartbeat, you've been holding sadness in your chest. You have fought silent wars for which no one cheered you on. Even when it's easier to shut off, you're still here learning, making mistakes, opening your heart, and trying to figure out how to love yourself on the days when you don't even like yourself. Even when you need to check in on someone, you continue to do so. Even when the world seems harsh, noisy, and unforgiving, you're still striving to be gentle. It's not a sign of weakness. The majority of people will never perceive such strength. Give yourself a break then. More than a 5-minute TikTok diversion, a genuine, soul-deep, graceful pause. You deserve praise for surviving mornings you didn't want to face. There were nights when you couldn't sleep, discussions that you were afraid to have, choices that you made without having any idea what you were doing. You are deserving of that type of praise and affection. Permit yourself to not always be mending, to not always be working, to not always have everything worked out. Rest is not something you have to earn. You don't need to establish your value. To be worthy of love at this moment, you don't need to be more than you are. Despite chaos, heartache, uncomfortable first dates, poisonous bosses, and quiet Sundays that caused you to doubt everything you have persevered to this point. Despite doubt second, guessing, and those strange years when you look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself. That's everything, not just nothing. Thus, inhale deeply rather than shallowly. As if you've finally come to the conclusion that you deserve air, let it fill your lungs. Even when your mind is worn out, your body deserves to be taken care of, so drink some water. Not because it's trendy. Sending a text to someone you care about is important not because you need a response. And continue, no, not in a rise, and grind or toxic productivity sense. Simply keep evolving. Continue to unfold. Continue discovering new aspects of yourself in quiet times, belly laughs, ugly sobs, songs you listen to again, and when you're attempting to feel anything at all. Because the best bits are still to come. The ones you don't anticipate, the bonds of friendship that are familiar, the times when tranquility surprises you, the evenings you go to sleep not because you're tired, but because you're happy. Those are the mornings when you're excited rather than nervous. Not flawless or unblemished, but entire, rooted, courageous, and authentic is the version of you that awaits you in the future. Indeed, growing older is strange. Nobody can prepare you for its rough, terrible, and unique beauty. But perhaps just possibly it's the moment when things start to make sense in life, and it has nothing to do with ambition and everything to do with grace, not the type of pretty posed, in the dark, the kind you whisper to yourself.